A little bit slower. Then power up. Yes. Good.
That felt good.
Yeah, look good.
Yay!
Look good. The first problem is when you start to get really good at squats, you've been doing them for a long time, you start lifting some serious weights, it becomes a very technical lift. There's a lot going on, and the most minuscule things start adding up to humongous issues in your performance. Take your time now, set your stance, brace tight, big breath in, hold your brace at the bottom. Hips back, open, go! Yes, finish it. Oh,
Oh no! Oh
what
no!
was that?
I don't know!
It was shallow and slow. I'll give you one more attempt.
I've never failed around that range.
No, that was weird. That was weird. So for Bianca right now, she's working a lot on her bracing. She's clearly very strong and can handle a lot of weight on squats. But if she has an off day where she's not bracing just that little bit too much, she'll miss the lifts. And something like barbell back squats are a lot less forgiving to technical flaws than other exercises that are slightly less technique based, something like a leg press or a hack squat. Now, it's definitely one of the main benefits of these because they do challenge your coordination of your entire body, and they are a really solid exercise. But at some point in time, for many people, you've got to ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? And for us right now, it is.
We want all the juice.
Yeah. Okay, take your time, heels down hard, hips back, keep the brace. Now power, go. Yes, better. Good. Good.
It was still hard in the same spot.
Yeah, it was still hard.
Got
It was hard, but you got it. You got it. All right, let's do it back down.
So how do you calculate the working weight for back down sets? Is it RPE?
There's so many ways you calculate things. What I do is I punch in a number into the load calculator on Gambaro. This is legitimate what I do. And I say, okay, she's got this as a rough 1 rep max. What should she be able to hit for around 6 to 10-ish reps? And then I'll factor in things like, oh, today we're gonna do pauses. So it's gonna be a little bit less. Or maybe I don't want her to go to complete absolute failure. I want her to leave 2 reps in reserve. So I put that into the calculator as well. And that's literally it. As long as you're hitting anywhere between, 5 to 10-ish reps, it doesn't really matter that much what you're doing. If we're talking pure strength, if you're hitting anywhere between 1 to 5 reps, doesn't matter that much what you're doing in terms of the actual rep range, as long as you're staying within the ballpark of a sufficient stimulus that stresses out your body, you'll get better over time. Take your time, good stance, heels down, strong midfoot brace, push, good. Again, no bounce out of the bottom. Control it, hips back, up, good, slightly longer pause, you can do it. You've got it, really strong brace, lock it in tight, heels down hard, go, yes, better. Again, big breath in, push through now, foot down hard, up, yes, another, one more rep, you got this, one more rep. Brace tight at the bottom, brace tight, brace tight, brace tight. Now jump, yes, in. All right, good, you're done.
Ouchie.
One of the other issues with squats is the muscles that get targeted. So at the front of your leg here, you have your quad muscles, these big, juicy, voluptuous thigh thingamajigs. Their role, squat down for me, is to squat up, extend the leg. Now that's what most of these quad muscles do, but there is one muscle that crosses over the hip joint here, which is part of these quads. It's called the rectus femoris. And what you'll see happen is as you squat down, Bianca, it goes kind of floppy. Because while it's being stretched out on one end, because it attaches at the hip, it's also being shortened at the other end, which means, come back up again, the length of the muscle doesn't change that much when you go through the range of motion. The same thing also happens, come up one more time for me, to the hamstrings on the back of the leg. Okay, so when you squat down, the hamstring, go for it, shortens and it lengthens at the same time, which ultimately means the length of the hamstrings doesn't change, come back up. So these muscles, hamstrings and that main quad muscle, the rectus femoris, they will experience some kind of forces when you're going through a squat, and they're working to stabilize the legs and the pelvis, but not receiving any meaningful stimulus to get them stronger and bigger over time. So if you just squatted and just did that, you'll be creating a lot of issues long term in your overall balance to your leg development. Fortunately, hopefully, most people aren't just squatting.
Losers.
Fuck.
Let's go to the gym and do squats.
A simple solution, of course, is just to be doing your accessory exercises. And the first accessory exercise we're going to be looking at is what?
Adios.
So on the stiff leg deadlift, what you can see here is because the knee's not bending that much, this is all just stretching out the hamstring. Contrast that with the squat, we're getting that length here. If the knee was bending, we'd lose some of that length, which would take tension away from the hamstrings. Big cues for stiff leg deadlifts or Romanian deadlifts, whatever you want to call them, is keep the knee as static as possible throughout the range of motion. What you often find people doing is as they shift their hips back and as they come down, their knees start to move forwards in front of the body, which turns into obviously more of a squat or a deadlift, which actively takes away that length from the hamstrings that we just saw. There will be some movement as you come up and down, but try to minimize that and try to pull your butt as far back and up as you can to create that big length through the back side of your legs.
Those are hard today.
Pretty hard. Now, as glorious as stiff leg deadlifts are, there is one little problem with them. So we have your hamstring muscles here at the back of your leg. They attach up here around your hip and your pelvis, and they come all the way down the back of your leg. Now, that's why when you bend over into a Romanian deadlift, it stretches them out and they're working. However, there is one head of one of the hamstrings that only crosses the knee joint, which means when you push back into a Romanian deadlift, nothing actually happens to this little muscle here. So what we have to do is do an exercise that keeps all this stuff still and just focuses on bending the knee, which is why we do leg curls as well. If I could only ever pick one leg curl, which is a very, very rare situation, that probably doesn't ever play out. It's like if you were on a deserted island with only one exercise. But if I could only ever do one leg curl for the rest of my life, it would probably be the seated leg curl over the lying leg curl. Slightly more stable, but also bonus, you do get more range of motion. Because if you imagine right now, Bianca's sitting down, but if she was in this exact same body angle, but her feet were planted on the floor and she was bent over, what have we got? We've got the bottom of a Romanian deadlift, which is something you don't get when you're doing a lying leg curl. Extra benefit here, extra stretch, slightly more gains. Research does show that as well, although I don't really like basing your entire training career on just one paper, but it just feels good. So if you have a machine like this, I definitely use it. Other cool thing about exercises like this is there's a lot less to manage. You can just focus all your attention on pushing as hard as you can with that target muscle, pushing close to failure. One interesting thing I do like to do with some people, depending on how comfortable it is leaning forwards. So if you, yeah, perfect. Tip the body forward, arch the back. Again, we're trying to really approximate that deep stretch that you might see on a Romanian deadlift. So the other problem with a traditional barbell back squat is the stability demands. No matter who you are or how well adept you are barbell back squatting, there is no way you're able to take a set to the same points you can take a machine-based squat like a hack squat. Why have you not started lifting, Bianca? But you can also see here that Bianca is very, very mobile. She's got a really good amount of range of motion here, but she also had a really good range of motion on the back squat. But again, because we're able to change the way she's positioned a little bit more and overcome some of the limitations that are inherent on a barbell back squat, we can reach much better ranges of motion here and get a much better targeted stimulus to where we want it. And she's able to push very, very hard. And of course, when we get to it, push close to or beyond failure points without any risk. Yes, awesome. So the hack squat itself, as much as I love it, it's not the thing that you have to do. All we're trying to do here is provide a more stable solution and a less technical solution that still has you squatting. So you can use a hack squat, which I love. You can also use a pendulum squat, which I also love. You can even do a Smith machine squat if you prefer, to give you the exact same stimulus, range of motion, and power output that you get from a regular squat, but with the better stability and less technical requirements. Yes, go, finish it. Keep your heels down. Open the hips up, mid-foot. Push. Good. Good one. When it comes to muscle building, there is nothing quite like doing a very, very hard set on the hack squats. But hack squats are still incomplete because we're having that exact same issue at that rec fem, where as you bend the knee, which stretches it out, you're also flexing the hip, which shortens the muscle. So that muscle doesn't really get hit at all on a hack squat, which means you need to do one more exercise. The ultimate knee killer, the leg extension. We're about to destroy everything with this dysfunctional exercise. Let's put the seat back a little bit more actually. Leg extension, as much as it gets poo-pooed on as an exercise, what you'll see here is, go through the rest please, it's perfect for hitting that one muscle because as the knee extends, that muscle, that rec fem is getting contracted and shortened and there's no motion at the hip, which means that muscle is going to be hit entirely through the range of motion, along with all the other quad muscles. A couple of things I like to do with this, apart from just doing a regular leg extension, is I also like to shift the seat back, which allows you to recline back. And what that does is it opens up that hip angle more. So now we can go through the exact same exercise, but we're taking that rec fem muscle and we have just lengthened it out more. And research does show, specifically on the leg extension, that doing this increases the gains somewhat, but also more globally for all muscles, research seems to indicate that training it in a more lengthened position might be better for growth overall.
Ouch.
I personally just find I feel a lot better and stronger and more stable having my body reclined back. How does that feel for you? Not as good?
The stretch is gross, but it's good.
Yeah. Can you pop that seat back up again? Cool. If your leg extension doesn't let you do that in terms of reclining the seat back, what you can do is get some kind of blocks and put them under your bum. By elevating yourself up a little bit, you'll now be able to lean back further. So now you can recline back and open up that hip joint the exact same way. You might not get as much range through here, so you might want to also put some padding on the knees like a yoga mat to increase that stretch more, but it's pretty good here as well. But you can imagine if she was tipped back, exact same angle. All right, folks, so as much as we both love barbell squats, we can't go past the fact that there are some inherent flaws to the exercise, and no one exercise should be put on a pedestal, should it?
100% not.
If there was a king of exercises, what would you consider it to be?
Oh, king for what? Just my favorite exercise.
I think that's a very good answer. For what? That's a very good response. When you pick an exercise, you ask yourself, why are you doing it? Do you enjoy it? And if you do enjoy it like barbell squats, keep doing them. But if you are doing them, know that they're not perfect. And hopefully from this video, you've learned that there are a few things you can do with your training to make sure you're covering all the gaps that a barbell squat may present to you.